Yeah, man. All right. You're blurry again.
No, you're blurry. Now you sorted yourself out.
I just stopped moving. So I'll bring us in, and then you bring us into the topic.
Yeah.
All right, because I'm still blurry on the topic. No pun intended.
You shouldn't be. But we'll get there.
I'll catch up. I'm telling you, bro. I'm gonna give you my best today, but we might hit that 20-minute mark and just cut it off. Oh boy. This is a daughter podcast where dads come to talk, think, and thrive with your hosts, Oscar and Blandon. Our mission is to cultivate a community of strong, mindful, and present fathers.
We want to curate honest conversations with all men, but especially those who have the honor of raising daughters.
Hey everyone, welcome to the Daughter Podcast. I am Oscar here with Blandon on the other side. What's up, man?
Man, it is a glorious Sunday. I spent time with my family. We had a very good weekend. And also, go Rangers.
I see that.
The first Sunday game in September, and we won. So I had to represent. Yeah.
Good for you. I'm sure they really appreciate it. Go ahead and have them send you a paycheck.
Hey, if they want to. I mean, but I'm still going to support them regardless.
We are not sponsored by the Rangers, but we will gladly take that sponsorship anytime they're ready to do that.
Absolutely. We'll take a sponsorship from the Texas Rangers. World Series champions. Yes, we will do it.
I'm waiting for the phone call. Nope, not happening. All right.
Yeah.
That's good. Anyway, so good Sunday.
Yeah.
Girls are all good.
Well, yes, the girls are recovered. So we covered this in a couple of episodes back. We are back to school. You guys are back to school. But the not so fun part of back to school is the kids being around other kids. And if you did not know, which I know you do know, other kids are like germ magnets. So we've been dealing with sickness in the house. First my oldest, then my youngest, then my oldest again, off and on ever since they've gone back to school. That's what we'll be talking about today. We'll be talking about how do we handle sickness, illness in our households.
Yeah. Yeah, school's a petri dish for sure. I mean, it's fact. They go to school. I think I started to calculate around the second week. So I tell my wife, I'm like, second week, here we go. And then we're dealing with sick kids, one or both. And then it just circles around the house forever and ever.
Yeah.
And it's part of it, how we deal with it, right? So how do you deal with the kids sick at home? Do you like get all suited up like that one movie Contagion and go deal with your kid, or how does that go?
I still have like serious trauma from that movie Contagion, right? Because then I felt like we were living it out in the pandemic. But right. we were. It was not that level, but it's still like when I saw that movie for the first time, I was like, this is absolutely insane. And I would love to have one of those suits. But anyway, so no, I don't get all suited up, but I do turn into Dr. Thomas at that point. So I'm running around, I'm checking temperatures, I am giving them medicine around the clock. I turn into almost a nursemaid minus the little bell that they ring. But yeah, I really am pretty hands-on with that. Because I want them to feel better. And I understand like they don't feel good and, you know, you kind of get whiny and you're uncomfortable and the bed hurts and the sheet hurts you and talking hurts and, you know, and it's just not a fun time. So I try to do as much as I can for the girls to ease that pain and just treat them like I would want to be treated when I'm sick. So when I'm sick, I just kind of sequester myself. I just put myself to the side in the room. And I probably shouldn't say this, but I dope up on medicine until I feel better. Yeah, man. I don't need a lot of interaction. My wife has learned that over the years. The last time I was like majorly sick, I probably didn't get out the house. You know this. I didn't leave the house for probably like 7 days or whatever. And she was like, do you want to come out? Do you? And I was like, no, I'm good. I'm good. I just don't want to spread the sickness. And then also I'm trying to recover. So I'm not the most conversational person when I'm sick, and I just don't want to be left alone. And so I treat the girls the same way, except I'm like tending to their needs, trying to be proactive, making sure they have the Pedialyte, the orange juice, the Gatorade, the water, all the medicines. If they have the crackers, the soup, whatever. I just try to make people comfortable, and especially the girls when they're sick. So,
all right, that's good. Like different on my side, but I do attempt to do that. It's just a little bit different.
Okay.
I don't wear the suit.
Yeah.
That's probably to a fault because I end up getting sick, but I'm just like, whatever.
Yeah.
That's what my
Yeah.
immune system is there for. So we'll figure it out as we go. I think my wife will probably, like, sometimes depending on the sickness, we'll get a mask and
Yeah.
wash your hands a lot. And I try to do that, washing hands too, but I'll just walk up to them, I'll hold them, and I'll ask them what's going on, and probably get way too close to the bubble. And then, like I said, I normally pay for it at the other end. I definitely give them more room to be whiny and to be uncomfortable, right? And I'm not the nursemaid in the sense that I don't do that much medication. My wife is obviously the jack of all trades. So she's like, oh, we should give him this or we should give him that. She'll ask me, I got to Google. Yeah, we can give him that together. Cool. Go ahead, kind of thing. But for the most part, I just try to give them some room to be more vulnerable, and I just let them be. Where other times I'm like, stop whining, you're fine. We talked about a little bit, like, are you sick or do you just not want to go to school? Because that's two different things. I don't think you're real sick. Or when they're like, I'm really sick, I'm like, sorry, there's no fever there. You got to go to school.
Yeah.
And I think part of that is the way when I was growing up, like there was no sick. Like, you're just like, no, go to school. Like, you got to go. Bye. Like,
wait. Let's back up here. When you were growing up,
yeah,
and we grew up during the same time, there was no sick.
Not really.
So, okay, are you saying you weren't a sickly child, or what are you saying? What?
Both. I was not often sick.
Okay.
I was outside all the time, playing in the dirt, and I think I built up an immune system.
Yeah.
Which we know that our children don't do like we used to back in the day, right?
Yeah.
But then secondly, unless I was like legit, I had a fever, like, I'm going to school. Like, my mom was like, no,
okay,
get up,
okay,
you're going to school.
Okay.
Now being a parent now, that's a big flaw, because I'm like, why do you send your kid to school and then let everybody else get sick?
Absolutely.
They bring it home, right?
Absolutely.
Then you're sitting there with snot in your freaking nose, and you're trying to, like, do your math, and getting snot on the math or paperwork, whatever. So, now, now that I'm a dad, like, my daughter will come home and she'll be like, some kid was coughing and sneezing. I'm like, why? Just keep him home.
Yeah,
But the mentality is also different. So my mom thought school was everything. We talked about this in the past, right? Like the big white lie. Like, oh, you go to school, you'll get to do anything you want. Like, we know that that's not necessarily true, right? But my parents, they came to the U.S., brought us here to go to school and to get a better life. And so school was everything. So unless you were legit dying, you're going to school and you're going to learn, which is counterproductive. We know that now. Now with my girls, I'm like, just keep them home. Like, it's fine. Yeah. What's the biggest thing that can happen? Oh, the school's upset. Well, oh well. Like, we'll figure that out. Like, it's not that big a deal. But I also don't like to be played. And that's my oldest sometimes does that. If she doesn't want to go to school for something else and she says she's sick, I'm like, don't lie. Just tell me what the problem is, and then maybe we can discuss that. So that's part of it. But when they are sick, though, legitimately, I try to be accommodating, more caring for them. But as far as the doctor piece, that's definitely my wife. She either knows how to doctor them, or calls her family member who's a doctor, asks for advice, and then boom, she's going at it. So
Yeah.
I'm not a big proponent to medicate everything though, because a cold, as you mentioned, it's viral, so it's got to run its course.
Yeah.
Yes, you want to monitor. Yes, if there's a fever, obviously we know that can be dangerous for the kid, but we also know that the fever is the body's way to kill the virus. So it's like we're trying to get a balance of that.
Yeah.
I think when we were first parents, it was like, oh, fever, get rid of the fever. And no matter the cost, let's get rid of the fever, Tylenol, whatever. And now as we've grown and learned as a parent, it's like, well, the fever is probably a good thing. Like let this fever do its thing with us monitoring the fever, making sure it doesn't go up, certain temperatures. And we have our family member who's a doctor. It's like, no, they should probably get medication. Like, oh, okay, cool. We'll do that. Okay. But for the most part, I'm not very big on just throwing a bunch of meds on it. If it warrants just letting it ride out, and I almost get a little hippie-ish on it. Like I'm like, let's go sit outside, let's get some sun on you. Don't make them play or anything, but just to be outside, get some fresh air. The house gets stuffy with kids sick, and anyway, so that's kind of how I roll around with illness in the house.
Okay. All right.
To be fair, I do that to myself too. So
that's what I'm saying.
At a very bare level, I'll take medication. I mean, I have to be really hurting to start taking meds. I'll go outside, get some sun, some grounding. I don't know if that it works or not, but that's what I do. And then I'll go back inside and sleep off a little bit. And I'm kind of like you. I just, hide myself in a corner and just not get anybody else sick. And luckily, I live in a house full of beautiful, generous girls, and they'll come over and help me out and kind of baby me a little bit. So that's kind of nice.
Yeah, that's always a bright spot on it when the girls see that you're not feeling well and they want to help out. And
yeah,
they are also now trying to nurse you back to health. And I'm like, no, daddy's got it. I don't want to get you sick. But no, but I am a huge proponent of medicine. So medicine, my wife though is kind of like you. I have to remind her that she can take medicine. I'm like, she's like laying there in pain. And I'm like, did you take anything? And she's like, no, I didn't even cross my mind. I'm like, how did it not? How did it not? But yeah, I'm always going to give the girls medicine. We're always going to, if something escalates too quickly, we're going to the urgent care, the ER, the doctor. That's why we pay all this money in health insurance. So I'm not going to let all that go to waste. And, flex spending a card and all that other stuff. We're running. I'm going to the thing. So I'm that obnoxious parent that is definitely going to give them some medicine to help them feel better, to help treat those symptoms. And like you said, right, fever is meant to help kill off the virus. But I just know I watch way too many of these specials on TV that parents are like not treating it, and then it quickly escalates. And I just don't want to be on that special, right? That's just constantly going through my head. Don't be the father on the news that was like, that was okay. that 103-degree fever, that was all right. I don't want to be that guy, okay? Not me. But you go ahead. You go forth with that. But I'm over here. They're going to get all the medicine, all the Tylenol, ibuprofen, that's age appropriate, right? And we also have medical professionals in our family, nurses. And so I call them up. My sister is a nurse. She's been nursing for over 20 years. And I always call her up and check with her and see if something is doctor worthy, emergency worthy, so to speak. Right. And she's like, and sometimes she'll give me the advice, hey, like you're doing all the right things at home. You probably don't want to take them to an emergency room where they can just have some more germs, pathogens around them. So just treat it at home. And they're just going to tell you to give them Gatorade and keep watching them, keep them with fluids. As long as they can keep stuff down, they're okay. But what you did mention is one of my hugest pet peeves. It is parents sending kids to school knowing that they're sick and knowing that they had a fever when they left the house, and they gave them medicine for the fever to bring the fever down just so they could go to school.
Right.
I that really grinds my gears, and I get livid behind that, because one of our early incidents with being sick at school was with my oldest, and a parent knowingly sent the child, and the kid had been sick all weekend. Like,
Mhm.
and so it's like, okay, so this wasn't something that just popped up Monday morning. The kid was sick all weekend. You sent the child to school. They were in my daughter's class. And then all of a sudden, like, now my daughter comes home. She has this really high fever. She can't keep anything down. And we go to the urgent care, and she's like super dehydrated at this point because she can't keep anything down. And they're like, what in the world is going on? And it was just like this really severe stomach bug, the stomach virus. And so they're having to give her medicine just so she can keep water down at this point. And so I was just super angry when I found out, because, we kept, of course, we kept her home. And so then the teacher was notified, and they were like, oh, yeah, the parent knew. I was so, bro.
Yeah, man. But I mean, I don't know what the situation there was, but not everybody has the luxury of not going to work. Right. It's unfortunate, but like, you see it in daycare all the time.
You got to make that sacrifice, though. You got to make that sacrifice, because just because you need to go to work, so to speak, your child needs you home. They don't need to be sick. Like, at school with other kids, you got to think of other people outside of yourself,
Well, yeah, but maybe they're thinking of their kid. I got to go make some money. Like, look, man, like I see it in daycare. Like, luckily we don't have to take our kids to daycare. But when we did, like, you'd see it, and people were just trying to make ends meet. So they have the kid in daycare. Maybe they're a single parent. There's no one for them to drop the kid off with or whatever. And I'm not saying it's the right thing to do, because you're right. Like, you may be not only making it worse for others, you may actually make it worse for your kid, because maybe they're not going to recover like they could, and so on and so forth.
Right.
But if it's a matter of, I've got to go to work, I can't get fired, like, I'm an hourly employee, right? So that's, you've been an hourly employee. Like, you miss hours, you miss money. That's just the way it works, right?
Right. But you also, I mean, I don't know their situation, but you got PTO, you got a sick day too. Like, call in and say, I can't go in because, but other than that, my thing is, it is a ripple effect, right?
Oh, yeah.
Like, your child is in the room with my child. And the parent, the dad, under no circumstances am I sending this kid with a high fever, knowing you have a high fever, really high fever, don't know what you have, into a classroom full of other kids. Now, back in the day, I don't know if this was you, but I think, this was just the parenting back then, when one kid had like chicken pox or something. And then everybody's like, okay, put all the kids around them so they all have chicken pox together
at the same time.
So they all have it at the same time. Okay, whatever. But that was then. This is now. I'm like, I'm not gonna do that. I just feel like super irresponsible. That's just me. That's just my personal thinking in this day and age right now. I'm not talking about back then. I'm not talking about 30 years ago, 40 years ago. I'm talking about me parenting my daughters currently. I just feel like it would be super irresponsible for me to do that. And whatever concession that I have to make for that day, you'd have to make it, because you have to know kids get sick, right? And your job would have to know, hey, like, my family, regardless of what I need to do, comes first. And I get it. You're trying to make money out here in the world, but your sick child trumps that money you need to make, I think.
I'm not disagreeing with you. I just think there's a gray area. I don't think it's black and white. That's all. I've seen it. I mean, my parents, if they didn't go to work, they weren't making money. If they were making money, we were eating. So I'm not saying that that's everybody, but daycare. We've kind of briefly joked about this. School is a big daycare, right? We're asking them to teach them something, but really they're just keeping them in a room for 8 hours so we can go do our thing throughout the day and make some money. So it's just a thought. Like, it's not black and white. there's some gray area in there. Yes, I also know that there's those parents that are just like, I don't want to deal with you. You go to school, and then that happens. That's a whole different story. But it might be a little bit gray. But I agree with you, because then they get to our house and I'm like, and I hear about some kid, or we get this email. Yeah, we've had this string of, stomach bugs. I'm like, okay, cool. Let's just not have class for the week. Like, it's not that big a deal, guys. But, we're still doing it because it's got to happen. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. I guess I'm sympathetic until I have my child not being able to hold down anything in an emergency room with the IV in that part. That I think at that point, my sympathy for that other person runs out.
I'm with you. You're going to go fight some folks at that point. No, I understand that. But yeah, I mean, how does everybody else take care of their sick children out in the world? Coming back from school, I think we're at 3-ish, 4-ish weeks into the school year. So we might be getting out of that whole initial sickness thing. And then we're going into fall and winter, and then we get all the sickness back in.
Right.
And then it rolls through the house. So how does everybody take care of that? Give us your comments. Send them over to conversations@daughterpodcast.com. You can also leave us a note underneath the episode link. You'll see another link that says send us a message. We get those directly, and we can put those into our next episode. Or what we're planning to do is put a Q&A or a message episode off of those that are coming in. So put them in there. Let us know how you deal with your girls being sick as we get into the school year and on. Also, go to www.daughterpodcast.com. Find us there. Also, Blandon, you want to talk about our new network?
Yeah, I do. I want to invite all of the girl dads to come into our new network. It's called the Daughter Network. And you can find that on Mighty Network. So if you download the app Mighty Networks and you search Daughter Network, you can ask to join in on our new online group where we will be talking about all things girl dad. So we'll have an after show talk back. We have conversations and connections. There's points inside the network where you can even be grouped up by geographical location, what you have in common. You can answer certain questions. We are trying to develop a community here that encourages each other to talk, think, and thrive. And we want you there. We need you there. You can also put in your requests to have a conversation with us. If you want to, we're going to open that up soon. We're going to put a link inside of our network. We're going to open up one day for anybody to talk to me and Oscar directly. If you have anything that you want to share, if you want a message you want to put out there, if you have questions for us, we're going to open up a slot per week. And that'll be coming soon, and we'll update it inside of our network. We wanted to take it off of a major social media platform like Facebook and then put it in somewhere that was more controlled by us. If anybody was with us from the beginning, we started out with a Facebook group, but my account got hacked. And so then with that, it was attached to that Facebook group, and so went the Facebook group. So now we have another online community that you can have direct access to us, and we can have direct access to you.
That's right. The Facebook has been a little bit touch and go there. So come join us on this network, get talking with us, and help us to build the community that we need to father our daughters better. With that, I am Oscar here with Blandon on the other side. We will see you all on the next one.